again, I wanted to come on here and make a little video for you talking about how you're kind of feeling as we close out 2019. So for some of you, this has been your year and everything has been wonderful. Things have been wonderful in your life, in your career, in your family. Some of you are crushing fitness goals, nutrition goals, and life is like awesome. You're up here. And then some of you have been walking through the valley and you're down here. In life, 2019 has not been your year. And you're over here thinking, when is it over? When is this year over? Because it was hard. And I want to say goodbye to 2019 and I want to welcome 2020. Okay? So some of you are here. And again, some of you are down here and some of you are in the middle where you're like, it's not been awful, but it's just not been great. There's got to be more, right? So anyways, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my 2019 and how it's been down here and why, and my aspirations for 2020. And I hope that with what I'm sharing, some of you can kind of step back and think about your own life and think about your own year that you've just had and kind of look at it through a different lens. So for those of you who know me best, you know that the glass is always half full. Even when things are not good, the glass is half full. And I was raised that way. It's something that my family taught me from a young age that it could always be worse. And it really could always be worse. And there were days this year where I'm like, surely it can't be worse than this. And then I learned that it could be worse. So let's just backtrack. So 2019 should have been the best year ever, because I got my baby. I got baby Sadie. And that was a blessing beyond belief. And it was so exciting and wonderful. But 2019 was also hard for my family. So the year started off. I was super pregnant. It was January. We were getting ready to welcome our newest baby in March. And life was really good. And we were excited. We were nervous about having 3, but we were excited. I had a healthy pregnancy. I had been exercising throughout the pregnancy, and we were ready. And in February, my family, a lot of you know this, but my family was thrown a curveball, and we were thrown cancer. And my brother received a diagnosis of acute myeloid leukemia. It's a very aggressive form of blood cancer. And our world shifted from the excitement of having a new baby to all of a sudden, we're just battling cancer as a family. And so I would waddle myself into the hospital and I would sit with my brother through his treatments whenever we were at the hospital with him. He stayed. It was a very extended stay. So far this year, my brother has been hospitalized over 200 days out of the 365. So if that gives you a feel for where my family has spent their time this year, it's very much been at the hospital. But anyways, so what I did is my focus from the beginning quarter of the year was no longer on pregnancy, and it was no longer on the excitement of a new baby, and instead it was on my brother. And so that was 2019, the start of it, because he was diagnosed at the end of February. In March, so March 30th, Sadie was born, and so I spent from March to April, mostly all of April and a little bit of May, just soaking in that newborn life. And I kind of took a step back from being at the hospital with my brother because I was recovering and I was just in the trenches of postpartum. After week 6, it was actually week 7, my daughter was diagnosed with hip dysplasia. And so my teeny tiny, adorable little newborn now had to wear a brace. And that brace was something that she had to wear 24 hours a day. It was very invasive and it was hard because everywhere we went, everyone's like, what's wrong with your baby? What's the matter? And it just it sucked. That's the only way to explain it. It sucked. It sucked for her. It sucked for us. It sucked that she couldn't do anything. It sucked that we could only hold her. She couldn't be in seats or anything. It just sucked. And we went every 2 weeks to have them checked. But anyways, that hit at week 7 of postpartum. So week 7 postpartum, I received that diagnosis. We found out my brother still had cancer and that the first round didn't work. And everything felt overwhelming. And that was when I started to say, I don't think I'm okay. I feel like I'm drowning. You ever feel that way where you're in the water and the water is up to here, but then all of a sudden something happens and it's the tipping point and you're like, oh shit, I'm drowning. That was me. I felt that oh shit moment and I'm like, I'm in over my head. And that was week 7. And so I was smart enough this time that I knew to tell my counselor. I knew to tell my counselor that I was struggling with postpartum depression. I wrote myself a list. I encourage you, if you're ever struggling with something like this, write a list of all the symptoms that you know you have, maybe that you've been hiding, and share it with your loved one. I shared it with my husband, and I'm like, these are all the things that I'm experiencing. Do you see them too? And in that moment, he said, yes, I do see them too. So that was when I actually made the choice to start medication. So I take a very small dose of Zoloft, and I'll tell you, it was the smartest thing I did. It's helped me get through this really difficult season. So I've been on that medication since about 8 weeks postpartum, and it's helped. And now my daughter is 7 months old. But in the meantime, so that I started that, I guess that would have been beginning of June, end of May. In July, and I'm so glad that I had already been taking the medicine, because at the end of July, we received a text from my brother-in-law out of nowhere. He's not someone who was struggling with mental health, at least not publicly. It wasn't anything we were aware of, and he was never the person we ever thought this would happen to, but he committed suicide. And that left me picking up the pieces for my husband. It left me, sharing with my child that his uncle has passed away. It left me supporting a spouse who is now grieving the loss of not just his brother, but his best friend. And it's just been a year, right? And so every single time I feel like, okay, things are going to get better. Okay, Mike's beating cancer, or Mike's getting his stem cell treatment, or Sadie's doing well with her hips, or, emotionally I'm feeling better. Every time something just came and knocked me down. But I kept the mentality this whole year, could be worse, right? It could be worse. And I kept telling myself, there is a purpose in this pain. And the season that you're in is growing you. So even though you don't like it right now, even though this sucks, right? A lot of things this year sucked. And even though it sucked, it wasn't the worst year. I mean, it was the worst year of my life. Like, I can stand back at the end and say this. It was the worst year of my life. But in that year, the worst year of my life, there was joy. And there was happiness. And there was love. And that's sort of how you have to look at your life. You have to say, even though a lot of things sucked, what was good about this year? What are you proud of this year? I learned this year that I'm a really good mom. I learned this year that I am really good at juggling 3 kids, even though it's incredibly challenging. I learned that my body can go from one extreme to the other. I watched my postpartum journey unfold. So I started my postpartum journey at 154 pounds, and I today weigh 121. That was not magic. That was not luck. That was not me not eating. That was me being so consistent and showing up basically every day that I could. I took 6 weeks off to recover postpartum, focused on nutrition only, and then I went into a workout program. I did 4-day-a-week workouts for 35 minutes a day. Then after I finished that, I started a 100-day program. I'm on day 75 today. So I'll be finishing that before the new year. But I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that I could have thrown in the towel. I could have said, no, this isn't the right time to exercise every day. No, I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. every day. No, I don't want to follow a nutrition plan. I could have said that, but I chose not to. I chose to show up in spite of all the things going on around me. I chose to show up and fight, to fight for my health, to fight for my mental health, to fight for my relationships. So going through all of these horrible things, even though it's been horrific, it's been wonderful for my marriage because I chose to make it that way. Because you find out a lot about love and marriage when you walk through the trenches. It's easy to be happily ever after when shit's good, right? When everything's happy, no one's sick, no one's dying, none of that's happening. But I'll tell you what, you want to see how strong your relationship is, walk through the fire together. But walk hand in hand. And that's what we chose to do. My husband and I leaned into each other this year. We leaned into our marriage. We said, we've got a good one, but let's next level it. Let's make it even better. And so I did that. And I was intentional about watering my own grass and, taking care of me, even though everything around me was out of control and I couldn't do anything about it. And so That's been my year. And it's been a year, like I said a lot of times on this video, it's been hell. It's been a horrible year. I wouldn't wish this year on anybody. I've gotten my daughter out of it, and that's wonderful, but this is the worst year of my life. I don't want to relive this year. And I hope to God next year is not as bad, but it could be. That's the reality of life. It could be. Okay? So you have to learn how to stand tall in the storms, and you have to learn how to seek joy in each day. Every day, even if everything around you doesn't feel joyful right now. And so I'm proud of that. So when I look back through 2019, I'm proud. I'm proud that I stood through the storms. I'm proud of the way that I did it. So I want you today to decide, how'd you stand through the storm? How did you stand through 2019? Was it your year? Did you shine through it? Was it amazing? Or do you feel like you just got by? But I want you to get so excited for what's next, because you are in control. It's November. It's almost Thanksgiving if you're watching this right now. And they have totally put their blinders on, and they're not thinking about New Year's. They're thinking about Thanksgiving, shopping, Christmas, cookies, wine, parties. They're thinking about all the things. I challenge you to say, you know what? This season's going to come and go real quick. How do I want to start the new year? What kind of person do I want to be in the new year? How's my mindset? How's my health? How's my marriage? How's my mental health? Where am I weak? And how can I get strong? Ask yourself those questions. It's going to be a gut check in the mirror. And if you can't figure it out, ask your best friend or your spouse, and they'll tell you. And give them permission to tell you honestly. Say, I need you to be really honest with me. Figure it out. And then make a commitment that you work towards it, that you become a better version of yourself, so that next year, when the year rolls around, you can look back at the year and you can say, I'm proud. I'm proud. No matter what, I'm proud. And that's how I feel about myself and my own journey. So I want that for you. So some of you are getting ready to make yourself Christmas lists. If you do that, some of you don't do that, because parents, oftentimes, if you're a parent, we're like, no, spend all the money on everybody else. And sometimes you don't put yourself on the Christmas list. And so my request to you is that you look at your life and you say, what do I need more than a sweater? Is it a book? Do I need a book on personal growth, maybe on a certain topic? Do I need help with my nutrition? Do I need help with workouts? Do I need to go to therapy? Do I need to go to marriage counseling? Like, what do I need? Do I need a vacation, right? Like, what does your life need more than a new sweater or a pair of socks or something stupid that you don't even want? And ask yourself that, and then get honest. And the people who you love, tell them about it. Say, you know what, this year, I don't need another sweater, because I'm not going to wear it anyways, because I don't tell them this, but because you don't like what they picked out, tell them I don't need that. But what I do need is 5 sessions of counseling. I'd love it if you could help me pay for it. I do need a date with my husband. Could you watch the kids? I do need to learn how to be more confident. I hear there's a book called XYZ. Could you buy it for me? Okay, I do need a fitness coach. There's a girl on Instagram. Her name's Sarah. Can you reach out to her? Sorry, I'm allowed to give you a plug. You guys watched the video this long. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. But like, seriously, ask yourself, what do I really need? And don't be afraid to ask for it. Speak up. Ask for what you want. And if you don't get it, buy it yourself, right? Do what you need to take care of you, because whenever you take care of yourself and you become the best version of you, everything else around you gets a little bit better. So here's to wishing you a wonderful 2020. I hope it's a good one. If you had a shitty 2019, I hope it's better than this year. And I hope that you'll continue to follow along with me. I think you're going to be surprised with where I take my business and where I take my fitness journey, and just my family in 2020. I'm excited. I'm so excited. So stay tuned. Keep following along if you are part of my Instagram community, and stay well. I love you guys. Thanks for being a part.